What's up, GRITR Texas, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special video for you. This is episode number 6 of Shoot and Move. Today we're going to be going over reloads and malfunctions. These are skills that can literally save you time and potentially your life.
Yeah, this one's kind of bittersweet, right? Because it's our last episode in the series. We've had a really good time with you guys going over some things. So we'll be going over clearing malfunctions, tact reloads, emergency reloads, and the mindset so you can stay cool under pressure. All right, guys, here we go. All right, so Gabby, how familiar and comfortable are you with the whole tap, rack, and assess method?
As far as tap rack, I'm pretty familiar, but once we start getting into more tactical reloads, that's where things get a little bit fuzzy for me. But I have you here today to really freshen up a lot of this technique for me.
So it's relatively easy, guys. A lot of people look at the tactical reloads, the emergency reloads, the tap, rack, and assess method, and they start to get a little nervous. But it's pretty simple. As long as you keep it simple, right, the KISS method, then you're gonna be okay. One really great tool are these snap caps. Now, I don't even remember, I've had these snap caps forever. They're just a little aluminum fake rounds or inert rounds, don't have any powder charge behind them. It's just something that you can stick in your magazine and be able to practice malfunctions, stovepipes, and all that kind of good stuff. So we're actually going to go over the steps for the tap, rack, and assess method, tactical reloads, emergency reloads, what's the difference, and when you should use the two. So let's get it. Okay, so we have our trusty snap caps. They are in the magazine. Gabby's loaded up as well, and I have a snap cap in the chamber ready to go. So, like I said, we want to make this as simple as possible. The goal behind the tap, rack, and assess method is to get our gun back up and running as quickly as possible, right? Because when I'm ready for this thing to go bang and I get a squishy trigger or a click, then I need to get this gun back up and running. So, pretty simple, Gabby. So go ahead and take out your gun. We can go through it together, right? So let's go ahead and take our stance, present out as if we are shooting, all right? And then we are going to squeeze the trigger. I got a nice click, right? So immediately I'm going to tap the bottom of the magazine. I'm gonna make sure the magazine is fully seated. I am going to rack the slide. Now when you rack the slide, don't baby it. That's one of the mistakes that a lot of people do is they ride that slide back forward. You want to be violent because you want whatever stoppage or bad ammunition that is in your chamber to get out of there with the quickness, right? So tap, rack, all right, and then we get back on target, and then we squeeze that trigger again. Boom. Right? Now, obviously you're not gonna get a bang, right? So the next thing as well is what I forgot to do is probably the most important part is after the tap and the rack, the next step is to assess the firearm because whatever's happening, hopefully, right, the tap, rack, and assess method, tap, rack, bang, whatever you use is successful. It's gonna clear out about 98% of your malfunctions. However, if it does not, the assessment part is going to be extremely important because it may or may not clear your malfunction. Gotta be sure, right? So after the tap, after that rack, get that ammunition out of there, I'm going to look at my firearm and make sure that there is nothing else going on. Making sure my gun is back in battery. Once again, if it's like faulty ammo, maybe it's got, you know, some bad casings, they don't fully go into that chamber, all that kind of good stuff. I want to make sure, and then we can make sure by just taking a quick glance at the firearm before we present again. All right, so Gabby, when you go over a stovepipe or a failure to eject, it's a common malfunction you'll see on the range. What do we do for that?
So this is what he's talking about, and it's the same process. You're gonna tap, rack, and notice I gave my firearm a little bit of a fling so that I could get that bad ammo out.
Okay, there we go. And then the next step in that is the assess, right? Once again, guys, stupid simple. Keep it simple. It's always going to be tap, it's always going to be the rack, and it's going to be the assess. And if we look, I'll do a little press check here. I have the next round loaded into the chamber and we are ready to go. So at this point in time, now I can just go ahead and present. Good stuff, I like that. The flick, what that does for us a little bit, right? So the failure to eject, what we're looking for is we're looking for that little ejector, right? That extractor to grab onto the back of the casing and fling that thing out of there. That's a part of the semi-automatic process, right? So when we have a stovepipe or a failure to eject, that means that extractor is having some issues, or the extractor is not even really connected to that shell casing, right? So that little bit of a flick, that little bit of a fling, right? You can call it a John Wick flick if you really want to, if you want to be cool, right? That little bit of a fling kind of helps that, as Gabby was saying, that bad round, that bad shell casing to get out of the way so we can get the next round loaded into the chamber. Good stuff. So this next one is just a little bit more involved. This is a double feed, right? So what we have is we have a round in the chamber, and then we have one from the magazine trying to follow behind it, all right? That is a double feed. So we have a couple of rounds trying to get in there at the same time, and so we need to fix that issue. Now, what I'm gonna show you here, right? We're gonna tap and we're gonna rack, but you see there's nothing going on, right? Tap, rack, nothing's happening, okay? So what we need to do, right? There is tension being placed onto this slide. So it's not allowing our extractor to get behind the next round in the magazine. And once again, we have this round trying to follow in behind it. So nothing's going to happen, right? So whenever we do the tap and the rack, this is where the assess comes into play, because once we look at it, we can go, oh, there is a double feed happening. Different steps are involved. So what I want to do, take the tension off of this slide. I'm going to lock the slide back to the rear. Good stuff. And then I'm going to strip out the magazine, and what you just saw was that round that was in the chamber fell out of the bottom. It's not always going to happen that way. Okay. There you go, all right? So if we check out the differences here, right? So like I said, my round that was in the chamber fell out of the bottom of the gun. I want you to do a quick little press check on yours and see where that round is at. Do you still have a round in the chamber? Mm-hmm. There you go, okay. So that was absolutely perfect. We didn't even plan that, right? So she still has a round in the chamber of her gun. I need to get a round into the chamber of mine. So what am I gonna do? After I do the strip, that round falls out, I'm gonna do a little quick assessment, drive the magazine in, drop the slide, and now I'm ready to go. Now, Gabby already has a round in her chamber. So does she need to rack the slide again? Nope. All she needs to do is take that magazine, put it back in, and then she's good to keep on going. So those are the couple of things that can happen during a double feed, right? We strip the magazine out, that round that's in the chamber can fall out, or we strip the magazine out, which allows that tension to go away on the slide. The slide goes forward, round still in the chamber. All we need to do now, quick little assessment, quick little press check, drive that magazine back in, and then keep going. Okay, so Gabby, what is your mindset while you are practicing these drills? What is your overall goal? What are you trying to achieve?
So first and foremost, don't panic, right? Once you feel that click or that squishy trigger, you know that something did not go right. So we refer to our tap, rack, reassess, and we're trying to get our firearm as effectively back on target as we possibly can. But again, don't panic, right? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So again, just refer back to your tap, rack, and reassess.
Once again, guys, it's not rocket science. We are doing the KISS method, right? So we remember those three words, the tap, rack, and assess, and then we get that gun back up and running as soon as possible. Like Gabby said, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But I will throw in a caveat, sometimes fast is just fast. And so how we get fast is we do this by dry fire and practicing at home and on the range. We actually get ready to do some live fire drills that include the snap caps, so that way we can actually feel what a inert round, what a bad round is gonna feel like, and that way we can run through these drills live. And then we can also see what our target's going to look like, because after we do that tap, after we do that rack, after we do that reassess, now we have to get back on target and put effective rounds on target. If you are speeding through this, if you are panicky, sometimes people don't get the full sight picture back on target, and then their rounds just kind of look like you threw a whole bunch of rocks at your target. So we're gonna go through that here in just a second. Okay, we are now getting ready to take this into live fire practice. This is actually probably one of the more fun drills that you can do with a friend or a family member, right? So what we did was Gabby took my gun and my magazine, I took Gabby's gun and her magazine, and we took 5 rounds and then the 3 snap caps, and then we randomly loaded each other's magazines, gave our guns back to each other. We don't know which round is first. It could be a live round, it could be an inert round, we don't know. Purpose of this is to try to understand what that click and what that squishy feeling feels like and how to solve that problem. Once again, we're keeping it simple. It's tap, rack, and reassess. We're also gonna find out what our anticipatory flinch response looks like as well, right? So we're probably gonna get in there. I do it sometimes too. We're gonna go, oh no, right? And then we have to go through the whole process. If you look on the ground here, we have a couple of X's. We are going to be standing on those X's. We are about 3 yards at the target bad breath distance, which is typically when something bad happens, right? Within that distance. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we are going to run through our entire magazines in our guns. Once they go down, we are going to reload. We wanna make sure we are getting into practice of not walking around with an empty gun. A lot of people, once that slide locks back, they're kind of like, cool, I'm done. They place the gun down, they reload the rounds. Don't do that. Get used to getting into that rep process of throwing in another magazine and getting it back up and running. So once that happens, once Gabby throws in her spare magazine, she gets back on target, that's when the drill ends. Now, if you want to try to take this a little bit more advanced, whenever the timer goes off, we hear that beep, you can get off of the X and actually try moving around while you are doing this drill. Once again, kind of more of an advanced process there, but you take it as slow or as fast as your skills are able to take you. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, guys, Gabby is going to go first. She's going to show you what it looks like just staying stationary. All right, Gabby, are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go, going off tone. There you go. There you go. There you go, good. There. Get another magazine in there.
Woo!
Get it out! Get it out! There you go. Cool. All right. Our last round ended with number 7, right? So we have 24.05. Good stuff. All right. Look, good rounds on target. We got a nice grouping there. I like it. What'd you think about that?
Not bad until the very end. And that's what I meant earlier. Don't panic. There was a moment where I was like, oh, I gotta reload. And my brain went into panic mode, right? So we want to try to avoid that, is just go through your process. You know, if it means that you need to think through it, think through it.
Yeah, right. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Once again, even like we talked about before, sometimes fast is fast. And the only way we get our speed up is by reps and going through this as many times as possible. So you get that nice tactile feedback of hearing that click, feeling that squishy trigger, and you know what to do right away. All right, my turn.
All right, it's Josh's turn, and he's gonna show us how it's done while moving. Ready, Josh?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, on the timer.
Yeah. Cool, man. Some of those. Some of those, right? Okay, so 7.15. Cool, man. All right, stand a little bit left of the target because we are moving back and forth. Could have gotten a little bit better on my sight picture, getting that gun back up, right? I was kind of just seeing the flash of that dot, and as soon as I saw it, I threw a round out, right? Okay, so definitely could have been a lot better, but feel pretty good about that one.
Awesome.
Right? Felt the squish, heard the click, immediately went into my tap rack and assessed, got that gun back out there and did what I needed to do. Once again, guys, keeping it simple, just keep it simple. This is a really simple drill that you can do at home. Not the live fire part, but the dry fire part you can do at home, the live fire part you can do at the range. If you have the ability to move around, draw from the holster, those are just extra things that you can incorporate in there to build on your skills. Practice, 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 train, train, train like your life depends on it, because it could potentially, right? Good skills. What do you think?
Good stuff, man. And these are things that, again, you gotta practice, you gotta get your reps in, and for me, for sure, I gotta practice those reloads. That's something that trips me up every time. But it's always a good thing to go back to the basics. That's what's gonna make you an advanced shooter, or advanced really in any skill set, is really honing in on those basics and getting really good at the basics.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate as much thinking as possible by that repetitious practice, right? So if I don't have to think about the tap rack and the reassess, if I don't have to think about the reload, then that just allows me so much more computing power to move around people, to assess my target a lot clearer, right? So that's what we want. If something goes down, I want to be able to immediately get to the problem without having to think about, oh, what do I need to do if my gun goes down? How do I reload? How do I move back and forth? Are there people running around me, right? It's just one of those things, right? Train, 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 until it just becomes a muscle memory thing. All right, well, that was pretty cool, man. I like that drill a lot. I like the tap rack and reassess drills. They're just one of those necessary components of shooting that is just invaluable.
100%.
All right, guys. Well, like we said, this was our last episode in the Shoot and Move series. Kind of bittersweet, but it is a good note to end on. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure you come and visit us at GRITR. We always love when you guys stop by and say hello to us. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on all of our socials. And guys, we'll catch you on the next one.